Just two more tests to go. Today we're going to look at the first of the last two, which is called solving by substitution. Our substitution work is going to cover 2 days. Each of the days has its own level of importance. On day one, which is today, we're going to actually learn how to substitute. We're going to reinforce the simplifying and combining terms, which what I say reinforces because you already know how to do these parts. And then you're going to learn how to find the first variable. Again, this is the only new information, which is how to substitute, so I got to make sure you got that. Once you get that down, I think everything should fall into place. You are not going to master it today, but again, you're going to learn how to find it. And then tomorrow what we'll focus on is actually mastering finding the first variable, and then we'll learn how to find the second variable, which really isn't that tough, but you have to do some work to on the first part, or you have to know the first part in order to get to the second. So we're not putting it all together in one day. We're separating the first variable out into the first day and then the second variable into the second day. Again, the lesson is mapped out and it is set up in such a way that if you take notes and practice appropriately, then you should be in good shape on your assessment Monday. Again, the assessment is Monday. Now, I know that's a tough day because it's the first day back from the weekend, but there's really no other way to do it because we're behind schedule. In terms of substitution, part one, talking about how to substitute. The process is the same no matter where you go. Only thing I do is I try to visualize the substitution by process by doing what I call box and switch. So any teacher you take or have is going to do about the same thing. I just use what I call box and switch because it gives me a visual of the information actually moving around and going where it's supposed to. Substitution itself is based on a property of equality. It means that if two things are equal, then they have the same value. So if you look at the following examples, the equality we know is that 2 plus 3 equals 5. We know that 4 plus 1 equals 5. We know that 8 plus 1 equals 9, and we know that 3 times 3 equals 9. Those represent, again, our current understanding of equality, but there's a higher level of equality. If you look at the problems again, aren't these equations also true? 2 plus 3 is equal to 4 plus 1. Or 8 plus 1 is equal to 3 times 3, because if you think about it, 2 plus 3 is 5, 4 plus 1 is 5. They both have the same value, therefore you can put an equal sign there. Same thing here, 8 plus 1 is 9, 3 times 3 is 9. Because they have the same value, you can put an equal sign. They are equal to each other. Again, this level of understanding is what allows us to apply the property of equality to solve more complex problems. We know that 2 plus 3 is 5, we know 4 plus 1 is 5. And again, this means that both expressions have the same value. And because they have the same value, we should be able to legally set them equal to each other. Remember, a lot of the stuff we've been learning in algebra is as long as we follow the rules, then everything is legal. So let's get into the box and switch process that, again, you must understand by the time you leave today. Again, I would write down at least one of these things just to make sure you have it. What we do in box and switch is we look for the variable that's all by itself. So you have y equals 4x plus 1, 2x plus 3y equals 11. Once you identify the variable as by itself, you put a box around it or a rectangle. I just call it a box. Y has the same value as 4x plus 1. So what we're going to do is put all of 4x plus 1 in a box because these two boxes, because of that equal sign, these two boxes have the same value. Y has the same value as 4x plus 1. So what I'm going to do now is go to the second equation and I'm going to box the other variable that was by itself. So since y was by itself, I put a box around just y. And so what I'm going to do now is in this equation I'm going to swap out the y box for the 4x plus 1 because again these two have the same value. I can change it and nothing is wrong. Alright, so what I'm going to do is write everything in front of the box, which is 2x plus 3. I'm going to open up parentheses and put 4x plus 1 in place of the y, and then I'm going to write everything behind it, which is equals 11. That's all I'm going to do for right now. That is the box and switch method. If you get the box and switch method down, substitution is easy. If you do not get the box and switch method down, substitution is impossible. So again, focus on this part. Make sure you're thinking, replaying, and trying your best to understand how it works. Find the variable by itself, box whatever it's equal to, and trade that box for the y box in the second equation. Here, b, 6x plus 3y equals 4, x equals 2y plus minus 6. This is the variable that's by itself. X is equal to 2y minus 6, which means it has the same value as 2y minus 6. So we go up to the other equation. Since x was by itself, we are going to put x in this box. But again, we are going to swap the x for the 2y minus 6, which means on this equation We write everything in front of the box, which is your 6. We open up our parentheses. We put 2y minus 6 inside the box there, and everything behind is plus 3y equals 4. Again, that is your box and switch. Notice that y's are the only thing that's left here, just like x's are the only thing that's left here. Again, make sure you are looking at this again, replaying it, following along as well as you can. This is the most important part of the whole week that we have in terms of today, tomorrow, and Monday. On C, we have 7x minus y equals 3, 5x minus 2 equals y. If you're looking for the variable that's by itself, here it is. Y has the same value as 5x minus 2. So what we're going to do now is take this y, put a box around this one up here, and we're going to trade the y out for 5x minus 2. So we write everything in front of the box, which is 7x minus. We open up parentheses, put a 5x minus 2 in its place, and then behind that is equals 3. Again, that is the box and switch method. That is what you have to know before you do anything else. So if you're still having issues understanding this step, it is your responsibility to come up and allow me to personally clarify it for you. Otherwise, again, I'm not responsible for what happens next. I know that you're learning from a video, but I am still pretty much there for any questions you have, and I understand there are gaps in your information, but that's why I use the video, so you can focus, find the gaps, and then come up and have me assist you with them. But again, if you're having issues, pause the video, bring some paper up to me so I can actually show you on paper and talk you through it. Anyway, at this point, as long as you know how to substitute correctly, then the rest of the day is going to be extremely easy. I understand, again, not all of us have worked to learn everything thus far, so I don't expect everyone to understand it. I just feel as though it should be within reach, especially if you've been doing everything you've been supposed to be doing. For example, people come up to me and they ask me how to do writing an equation. The first thing I ask them is, do you know how to find a slope? And their answer is no. Well, if we learned how to find slope 2 weeks ago, it's tough for me to teach you today how to do something that involves finding the slope. So again, if you've been doing your job, I don't think it's going to be tough. If you have not, it's going to be a little more of the same, but again, you can still fight your way through it. Just got to make sure you have a little pride and don't get mad at the way I speak to you when you ask me an old question. Y equals 4x plus 3, 2x minus y equals 11. Again, this is what we do first, box and switch. I'm going to speed through the box and switch because if you let the video go, it means you understand it. Everything in front of the box is 2x minus. Y we swap out for 4x plus 3 equals 11. That is the box and switch. To simplify, you understand if there's a negative, remember that the negative switches everything out there. So it's 2x minus 4x and then minus 3 equals 11. Again, that makes that 4 negative, it makes the 3 negative. And the last thing we do is put our like terms together. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And this is where you're going to stop on a lot of your questions today. Because again, if you can get here, then you can go all the way through. You have to get the box and switch, you have to distribute, and then you have to combine terms. Those 3 steps is what makes substitution easy. And again, that's what we're practicing today. Looking at B, this is what's by itself. X has the same value as 4y minus 6. This x is alone. That is the x I'm going to substitute in for. So 4 parentheses, swap out the x for 4y minus 6. And then everything behind it is plus 3y equals 6. Distributing, we get 16y minus 24 plus 3y equals 6. Again, 16 minus 24, those things come down. Like terms here are 16y and 3y, which make 19y minus 24 equals 6. And again, for right now, that's where you're going to stop. We are not worried about the answer. We are worried about the first 3 steps. If you master these first 3 steps, substitution is not tough at all. If you do not master these first 3 steps, then like I said, you're going to have a major issue because you're going to make a mistake and you're going to miss the question. C. This is the variable as by itself. This is what it's equal to, so it has the same value as that. And then this y means you can swap that out for it. So we put 4x minus 2 parentheses x minus 5 equals 7. Again, 4x minus 2, swap out y with parentheses, always use parentheses, and then equals 7. don't forget that this is a negative 2. So when you do that, 4x does come down, minus 2x, but keep in mind that's going to be plus 10. You'll notice that I used a negative in this problem. I also used a negative in this problem, and that's because the only problems that people typically have issues with once they understand substitution is negatives and distributing negatives. So I'm going to probably give you as many of those as I can, especially for your notes. Putting your like terms together, you get 2x plus 10 equals 7. Alright, so again, looking at that, not tough, just something you have to make sure you practice and ask about and try your best to get. And it's within your reach, but again, you have to want to do it. I can't force you to want to know it, and if that's the case, I can't force you to remember it. Finding the first value, again, now that we know how to box and switch, now that we know how to simplify, finding the first value is the easiest part of your day. Depending on which variable is alone, we're going to have to find whichever variable is left over after we substitute. If we substitute for y, for example, that means the y's go away, we have to find x. And vice versa. If we substitute for x, that means x is gone, we have to find y. As stated earlier, the process is very simple once the substitution part is under control. You're going to see that the solving is easy for the first value. So again, looking at this problem here, you're going to look at it, you're going to recognize that y is alone, you're going to recognize that y has the same value as 2y minus 3, or sorry, 2x minus 3, and you're going to swap it right here. So you then put your 4x minus parentheses. Y again is going to swap out for 2x minus 3 and then equals 13. We are going to distribute our negative. Again, distributing a negative means that everything switches signs. So minus 2x and plus 3 equals 13. We're going to simplify by putting our like terms together. 2x plus 3 equals 13. And then now notice how easy the solving is. We simply subtract 3 from both sides, getting 2x equals 10. We divide by 2, getting x equals 5. The problem is done. That is how easy it is. Again, once you get the first 3 steps down, the rest of the work is honestly way below you right now. Alright, so again, if you're having any issues with this, please make sure you don't, that you're not too proud to stop the video, bring some paper over, or write the problem down, bring some paper over and have me walk you through it by myself. Again, this is just to make sure you at least get the information first. Looking at B, that is the variable that's by itself. This is what it's equal to, and that is the variable we're substituting for. And so we write everything in front of that box, which is just 2. We swap out x using parentheses, which turns to 2y minus 9. Everything behind the box is plus 3y equals 31. Again, all we did was swap x for 2y minus 9. We then distribute that 2, getting 4y minus 18 plus 3y equals 31. We then put our like terms together, getting 7y minus 18 equals 31. First step should not be hard. First step, getting from here to here, should not be bad now, as you've seen a few of them, and again, you've had the opportunity to ask questions. Second step is not hard to distribute. Third step, combine like terms, not hard, and again, from there, it's just a matter of basic algebra. 7y is equal to 49, divide by 7, and y is equal to 7, and that is, again, where we will stop today. Tomorrow, you'll get some time to practice this, actually master it. Today, you should be getting it down to where you know it. You'll forget a little bit over tonight because I'm sure you don't study that much, because I didn't study that much when I was in school either. You'll forget a little bit of it, but then you'll come back tomorrow, start from here, and then you'll master this part and go on to the second part. Again, that is our stopping point for the day. Do your best today to get a solid grasp of the process, and tomorrow will be easy. If you allow this time to go by without getting better at substitution or asking for assistance, then you can expect your grade to drop again on Monday, because that quiz is going to get you again. Either way, you do have a little over 1 week to get everything settled in terms of past homework, past quizzes, and past tests. So make sure you're making the right decisions and doing what you are supposed to do. Also keep in mind, if you're focusing on past tests right now when you're supposed to be working on the information for today, you're going to probably fail the test.